Alright guys, this is DADBOD Gaming coming to you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about team comps and heroes that work really well together. Now, I'm only going to be focusing on a couple heroes out of each element, just so that you have a good basis to start a team, because most of these teams you can swap around a couple things or a couple heroes, but you have like some core heroes that you'll want in that team. So like with what we're about to do is the earth elementals heroes, they have a hate mark. Now hate marks lowers your tenacity, lowers the opponent's tenacity, which makes it easier for them to get hit by critical hits. So the first little bit, so here we go with Zohan, or Zhao Yun. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm just a dumb American, so bear with me. Raphael and Tashi Chi. I want to hope that's right. Now, all three of those heroes put out hate marks. Now, each one deals a different amount of hate marks to a different amount of opponents each time they attack. And then they each have a different ability that adds on to the benefit of having multiple hate marks. So we'll go with the little Earth Witch right here, Raphael. Now, she's going to attack 2 random enemies, and then each one can get up to 1 hate mark. Now, her ultimate is going to deal an AoE damage, and for each hate mark on each opponent, it's going to deal an additional 10%. So that's great, and as you can see, it gets even more damage as you level her up. But her passive, as she kills enemies, if they have a hate mark, she's going to get more HP recovery. So she's sort of like a pseudo healer as long as you're killing the opponents. Now, she works really well against some heroes like Darwin, and there's another one that summons like spirits. They actually summon other things, and as you kill those summons, she's going to trigger. So she works real well with those. Now, Tashi, she's going to be your DPS on the hate mark team, because she's going to attack one person, give them 2 stacks of hate mark, which lowers their tenacity right off the bat by 10%. And then her ultimate is going to even deal more damage and add more stacks of hate mark. But as she's adding these hate marks, she's going to be increasing the rest of the team's crit rate, which is crazy, because once you get her maxed out, she can increase your whole team's crit rate by 24%, which that's 1 in every 4 hits is going to be a crit. Well, with these hate marks also lowering their tenacity of the opponent with a maximum of 25%, lowering their tenacity by 25%, and then upping your crit hit rate by 24%, you're pretty much saying every other hit is going to be a crit. So that's crazy amount of damage that she can put out, and she can help her team put out. Now, the last one, she's not the best with the hate mark, but she's still good with the hate mark, because her basic attack is going to still hit you for 1 stack, and then her ultimate is going to bump up her crit by 20% for each hate mark on the target. So her ultimate is going to almost, with this team, almost guaranteed to crit. And then her passive, she takes 20% less damage all the time. And then when she's attacked by enemies, she inflicts 1 stack of hate mark. So you put her up front as your tanker, and she's going to start getting hate marks on everybody that's hitting her. And then therefore making everybody take more crits, taking more critical hits. And then once they're dying, if they have the hate mark on them, your Ralph is going to give more heals, and your Tashi's going to give more crit rate to everybody. So those 3 heroes work very well with each other on the Earth team. Now for the water guys, you got 3 that are really good with each other. You have our little dragon girl here. Not even going to try to butcher that name. But she gives out frost marks. And then she has a massive AoE that's going to hit crazy damage. And then after that, her passive deals an additional 96 to enemies that are frozen. So if you do your ult and you have frozen enemies, she's doing 210% right off the bat to everybody that's frozen, which is crazy amount of damage for an ult. And as you level her up, it's going to even be more damage. Now you have Romulus, which is like your frozen tank. When she hits people, she's going to give frost marks. As people get frost marks, she's going to get barriers to help out with healing. And then at the start of the battle, she automatically gives out 2 frost marks. So with the frost marks, you have to have 3 to freeze an opponent. But once they're frozen for 2 turns, which is crazy if you can get their DPSer or their healer. Just knock them out for 2 turns with the frozen, and you're in it for the win. And then the last but not least is Artemis. She deals a lot of frost marks. She also deals a good chunk of damage with her AoE. And then her normal attacks actually have a chance to add in frost marks. So literally every ability adds in frost marks. So every time she's doing something, she's adding a frost mark. So with these 3 that are adding frost marks constantly as they're attacking, is going to make sure that their team is frozen. And then with your dragon girl, she's going to hit them even harder. So those 3 are really good for your core on a water elemental team. Now fire elementals, these ones are really good because the burn markers, they deal a constant damage every turn, which is great. If it's going to be a long battle, having those burn marks is just going to make it end faster, and then make it harder for them just to stay alive. First, we're going to talk about Merlin. She's OP with the fire, with the burn marks. She gives out burn marks to everybody at one point, but each meteor she throws has a chance of hitting. So her basic number one ability is going to shoot out 3 meteorites, and each one has a chance to inflict a burn, which is great. Then you have her AoE, which is going to do 4 attacks to everyone, and each one of those is going to deal more damage if they have burn marks. So each one's going to get more damage for each burn mark, so it's just massive amounts of damage. And then her passive, for every 1 stack of burn mark inflicted on her enemy, she increases her team's crit rate. So just how the Earth Girl increased the team's crit rate with hate marks, she's going to do the same with burn marks, which can go up to 24%. So this is when you can sort of use 2 characters of different factions to make your crit rate almost 75% by using her and Tashi, which is insane. And then your other 2 burn markers are Michelangelo and Lancelot. Michelangelo, she deals damage with hers, and then she actually provides a little flame barrier, where the flame barrier, as people attack it, they're going to take damage. And it's true damage, so it doesn't care about their defenses. Now, Michelangelo is really good against Octavius, because Octavius auto attacks when people are sent in the air. Well, if they have the barrier from Michelangelo, Octavius is going to be taking damage every time she does that, and so it almost suicides Octavius. So Michelangelo is a really good counter to her. And then you have her passive, which every action she takes, she has a chance of putting a burn mark on a target. So that's really good. And then you have Lancelot, which Lancelot, you will eventually get her. She's not in the normal pool. But once you get past a certain point on the engraving tower, you'll get copies of her. But so I wouldn't worry too much about having her in your basic team. Just having Merlin and Michelangelo are great burn mark heroes. Now, what she does is she can put multiple stacks on a single person of burn mark, and that's what she does best. And then as she's dealing damage to them, she deals more damage for each burn mark, and then she also triggers those burn marks. So burn marks, if you read it, they trigger at the start of each turn. So before she does her ult, all the burn marks that are out are going to trigger, and once she ults, they're going to trigger again. So really good. And then her passive, tenacity is increased by 25%, so that's going to make her want to hit more. The effect cannot dispel, so when Lancelot slays a target, the remaining enemies receive 1 stack of burn mark. So as she's killing people, she's adding more burn marks. Really good. So those are 3 of the teams. Now the wind team, almost everybody knows the wind team, which is really good. It's probably one of the best ones to start off with if you can get it, because it's also the first engraving tower, which being able to power through that really fast helps you out in the long run, because for every level you beat on the engraving till level 10, you get a copy of the healer Hauto, whatever her name is, but you get a copy of her. So it's really good to start off with wind And I've already mentioned her, Octavius. She is the wind goddess. Now she sends them flying. Well, that's what the whole wind guys do. Their main little ability that they put on people is to send flying, where it sends them up in the air and they take a little bit of extra damage. Now, Octavius is so good is because of her passive. When somebody is sent up, she attacks them. So, and then each of her abilities can send up people. So her first ability is going to send up one person, but her second ability can send up almost the whole team. And it's crazy because she can literally wipe out a team one shot. It's nuts. And then you use Da Vinci with her because Da Vinci sends flying. Like, everything she does, she sends them flying. And then when she has her attack, her passive, every time she normal attacks, she has a 50% chance of doing the tornado. Well, the tornado is going to send them flying. So as you have her leveled up, every attack is going to be 100% chance to do the tornado, which every time she does the tornado has a 100% chance to send that person flying, which therefore every attack she does is going to 100% chance trigger Octavius to attack them. So for every one attack she does, Octavius is going to attack, which that's 2 attacks for one a turn, one hero's turn, which is crazy. And then the other one is Shakespeare. Shakespeare, she can send a whole line flying, which is really good. And then she's also a great tank. She starts at the start of the turn. She dispels debuffs on her, and she increases her defense by 30% right off the bat, and it increases as she goes on. So she's a really good tank with this team, and she also just has the ability to send people flying. So that's why she's good in that. So those 3 heroes make up the 3 that I would try to go for out of the wind. Now for some heroes that you can almost throw in like any team if you need to, or let's go with Hannibal's really good. She's a beast of a tank. She can take down an entire squad by herself. It's crazy. We have a guy in our guild, which our guild is God on server 2. His name is Zee, and he's ranked number 1 on the server, but he already got a 6-star Hannibal, and he is using her and wrecking the Earth Elemental engraving tower, just with her. Another hero that can easily fit in anywhere is Honda. Honda is a great tank, and she also has good damage. You have in the water, you have Helen, which I don't have her yet, but Helen, she's a reviver, so she can actually revive a teammate. So yeah, her ult can immediately revive one teammate with 30% HP. So every time she's ulting, she can bring back a hero, which is great. Everybody knows that reviving heroes is awesome. And then another one that can fit in almost any squad is Zenji, because of her ultimate. Her ultimate pretty much says, hey, I'm going to trigger my best character's ultimate. Boom. Your best character now, with her on your team, your best character now gets to ult twice for every time. Great. And then Hatoa is an awesome healer no matter what faction you're running. She, I think, is probably the best healer in the game so far, with the caveat of Helen, who can revive heroes. And then last but not least, you have the twins as a hero that can go pretty much any team because of their ultimate. They're going to do a speed boost and a damage boost. So these guys, so good when you're actually trying to get, if you're feeling that you're not getting your ults as fast and you're not dealing as much damage before that your team is dying, they can really help out with that speed boost. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully that was very helpful and you understood what I was saying. If you have questions, please leave comments in the comments below. Subscribe, do all the things. Once again, shout out to the guild, God, and then also I used him as in here earlier, but Z. He's making my life easier with giving me information about heroes. So if you need anything or you have any questions, please let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, do all the things. See you next time.